This is the photocopy picture I've chosen to use for the demo on paper proportioning, getting started on the large graphite drawing. I picked something and printed it out really large so that this is an 8.5 by 11 inch paper and it goes almost edge to edge. What I'm going to do is check my proportions. If I line up the corner of my paper picture to the corner of my drawing paper, line up my yardstick from corner to corner of my picture, this picture. And the thing is about rectangles is they grow on a diagonal. So this paper is not the same proportion as this picture. I could knock off ½ an inch off of this paper and then it would be the exact same. Or I could line up my ruler from corner to corner of my drawing paper and knock off a little piece of, to mark where that diagonal would be, knock off about 1/4 of an inch across my photocopy paper. But I decided I want to keep my photocopy paper exactly the way it is. And these are choices that we have. And I want my paper to be 12 by 16 because it's easier to mat and frame when the whole thing is done. For those of you who are working this size, I have a master grid for you to use. So what you can do is put this master grid on top of your 12 by 16 inch paper. I'm going to check and make sure that it's showing on the camera. Okay. And then copy these little measurements. I've done the measuring for you. So I'm going to line my paper up, scoot it, make sure it's all even. Next, I'll use a ruler and or a yardstick and connect all of my lines. Do it lightly. You don't want the grid to show in the final drawing. Keep in mind, I have to make it a little bit dark so you can see it on the screen. I got my paper gridded. This little section on each side, just ignore it. Don't cut it off, don't worry about it, just leave it. It's there to help mat and frame. So my photocopy picture, it's going to go like edge to edge to here, edge to edge to there. What I did with my photocopy paper is I folded it in half, brought the edges in so that it would be really precise folding. Turned it that way and folded it again. I have the same number of rectangles on my photocopy as I do on my drawing paper. After I did all that folding, I used a ruler and lined it up with the folds and marked it with a pencil to get it nice and dark. It just makes it easier for me to see all those grid lines. I'm all set. This is my setup for getting started on my large graphite drawing. Now that I'm all set up, I'm going to use this grid and the grid on this paper as a structure to help me take this picture from this size to this size. It's not quite double, but it's bigger. So I like to start at the top and work my way down, just so I have a place to start. I'm going to start in the top right, estimate how far that comes in on this rectangle. That looks like it's about halfway on that rectangle top. And I'm going to start drawing. Keep in mind, draw lightly so that you can erase. I'm going to draw a little bit darker so it shows on the screen. In real life, I would be making it really, really light. And what I did here is I made a general line of what that leaf shape is going to be, and then I'm going to go back in and draw the details of all of that scalloped edge. It can be a little tricky to draw all of those scallop shapes and keep the general shape of that leaf, so I do it that way. And then I can decide, do I want to go down to the square? I do. And I'm going to work square to square. This goes from the corner to almost the corner.